Okay, let's unpack this CSDM5. Sounds a bit like alphabet soup.
Yeah, it can seem that way at first glance.
But trust me, buried in this technical-sounding name are some really smart ideas that could fundamentally shift how you understand, well, everything that makes your digital business tick. Welcome to the deep dive.
Where we sift through the info you've shared to get you smart fast.
Exactly. Today, we're venturing into the CSDM5 white paper by Scott Lem and Rob Cooten. Our mission is pretty simple, really, to demystify CSDM5.
What it is, why it actually matters.
And how it might just be a bit of a game changer for you. So let's get right to it. What is CSDM5 in plain English?
Okay, so CSDM5 is essentially a blueprint. Think of it like a best practice guide from ServiceNow for how to define and organize all the different pieces of your digital services within their platform.
A blueprint. Okay.
Yeah, and it's an evolution from the previous version, CSDM4. It takes those core ideas, but makes them, much more comprehensive for today's world.
A blueprint for digital services. Okay, that's a helpful way to frame it. So is it like a new set of rules we absolutely have to follow?
More like a common language.
Yeah.
And a set of standards. It gives you these agreed-upon definitions for anything service-related across all of ServiceNow's tools and capabilities.
Ah, okay.
The big win here, really, is that it aims to make managing those services much more effective.
Right.
And it provides really clear guidance on how to model them correctly.
Right.
What's really insightful, I think, is recognizing that without this shared model...
Everyone's kind of speaking different languages.
Exactly.
Yep.
Different parts of an organization are often talking about the same things in completely different ways. CSDM provides that crucial common ground, that shared understanding.
That makes perfect sense. So is CSDM something we need to go out and buy? Like, is it a separate product?
Good question. That's a key distinction. CSDM isn't a product you purchase from ServiceNow. It's the guidance.
The guidance, okay.
Yeah, guidance on how to structure and understand your configuration management database, or CMDB. That CMDB is the central repository of information used by lots of ServiceNow products.
Got it.
So CSDM tells you how to organize that information. It's not a step-by-step process guide, and it doesn't come with pre-built reports or code or anything like. It's more like the underlying structure that makes all those other things work better.
Right, so it's the foundation, not the building itself. Makes sense. Yeah. Where did this foundation even come from? What was the initial spark,
Well, back in 2017, the teams responsible for IT business management, which is now Strategic Portfolio Management, or SPM, IT Operations Management, ITOM, and IT Service Management, ITSM, got together.
Okay.
They realized that, while all their products lived on the same platform, they weren't always working together quite as smoothly as they could.
Right, silos sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And a major hurdle was that they just lacked a consistent way of defining what a service even was. Different parts of ServiceNow, even though they used the same underlying tech, had their own perspectives. And that limited how well they could integrate and share data.
Okay, I'm getting a much clearer picture of the what and the why now. So with CSDM5, what's the ultimate goal? What are they really trying to enable these days?
The ambition has definitely grown significantly. Initially, the focus was very much on streamlining IT workflows,
Yeah, the traditional stuff.
Right. But CSDM5 and beyond, they're geared towards much bigger things, enabling sophisticated generative AI capabilities, for one, and supporting broader digital transformation across the entire enterprise.
Wow. So it's really moved beyond just making IT run smoother.
Exactly. The goal now is to establish what they call an Enterprise and Operational Service Model, or ESM. Think of this as the overarching framework. Within that, you have the Common Service Data Model, that's CSDM5, and also a Common Service Delivery Model, the ultimate vision. It's to build what they term the Digital Value Network.
Digital Value Network.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty all-encompassing.
It is. I mean, the scope is vast.
Yeah.
It touches every part of the service lifecycle, from the initial design and configuration all the way through ongoing operations and support. And even how services are consumed and the value they actually deliver back to the business.
Okay.
And what's fascinating here is that they're considering how this model applies to all sorts of business scenarios, whether you're serving your own employees, that's B2E,
right,
or external customers, B2C, or even other businesses, B2B.
Yeah.
And it's designed to be adaptable across different industries too. Healthcare, manufacturing, utilities, you name it. Okay,
here's where it gets really interesting for me. Thinking about this applying to physical industries.
Absolutely. If you look at Figure 1 in their white paper, it illustrates this business value network concept.
Yeah.
It's really rooted in understanding your value streams, like how your organization actually creates value and the specific outcomes your customers are looking for. These get delivered through what they call a service delivery network that connects to various users and all their different devices.
Right.
And with CSDM5, the whole concept of a service expands. It goes beyond just traditional IT services to include things like industrial equipment, operational processes, even utility services, all interconnected.
Wow. Okay. So if that's the big picture, what are the concrete new things in CSDM5, stuff we didn't have before?
Yeah, there are quite a few key additions that provide, let's say, more structure and insight. For instance, they've introduced a completely new domain, ideation and strategy.
Ideation and strategy.
Yeah, this is where those initial sparks for new services or improvements, where they get captured and nurtured. They've also added the ability to manage the software bill of material, or SBOM.
SBOM. Yeah, that's definitely something we're hearing a lot about these days. Crucial for security.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
For you, the learner, think of the SBOM as like a detailed ingredient list for all the software components you're using. Super important for security and compliance.
Makes sense. What else?
Then there's the new system component model. This lets you model products in a much more granular way. It includes submodels like the software component model and the service offering model.
More detail, basically.
Exactly. They've also introduced product feature as a distinct element and an expanded value stream concept that now ties in more closely with a detailed model of your business processes.
Okay, that's a fair bit of new terminology to wrap my head around.
It is, yeah. But the underlying idea is really to give you more precise control and just a clearer understanding of how different parts of your business connect and relate to each other.
Right.
Other new bits include managing teams, basically, multiple contact groups for a single piece of tech, a CI, and clearly defined lifecycle stage and stage status to track where things are in their journey.
Ah, life cycle tracking. Okay.
There's also a dedicated DevOps change data model now available, which is handy.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole concept of service instances has broadened out. It's not just application services anymore.
Oh. What else is included?
Well, now you've got siblings like data, connection, network, facility, and even operational process service instances.
Facility, like buildings.
Potentially, yeah, or specific operational locations. And finally, they've even introduced an AI data model to account for the growing role of artificial intelligence. Oh, and some table labels have changed names too, just to better reflect these evolutions.
Wow, that's a pretty substantial overhaul. It really sounds like they're aiming for a much more kind of holistic view. Are there some fundamental principles guiding all these changes in CSDM5?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's several core principles that really underpin the whole framework. One is simplified concepts. The idea is to represent things in a straightforward, unambiguous way.
Keep it clear.
Right. It's also designed from the ground up for reporting and analytics, making sure you can get consistent insights from your data. Prescriptive relationships are another key principle.
Meaning?
Meaning they emphasize the importance of using the defined connections, the right connections between different data elements. They're not just giving you the pieces, they're showing how they fit.
So they're not just giving us the Lego bricks, but also suggesting how to build the castle, kind of.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. Other principles include shared data model collaboration, recognizing that the best approach comes from different teams working together. Clear definitions are crucial. Everyone needs to be on the same page.
Makes sense.
They also emphasize providing CSDM ORB tables, so ready-to-use tables within ServiceNow and promoting consistent data integrations. Finally, they highlight CSDM adoption, focusing on making it easier for organizations to actually implement the model, plus the importance of data governance and process, and providing clear product use documentation.
It sounds like a really structured and well-considered approach. Now, you mentioned the end-to-end service lifecycle earlier. How does CSDM5 actually visualize that journey?
So they've adopted this view centered around your service portfolio, the different CSDM domains we talked about. They now represent key stages in that lifecycle. So it starts with ideation and strategy, where the new ideas take shape. Then it moves into design and planning, where those ideas become, concrete plans.
Right.
Build and integration is where the services are actually created, coded, deployed. Service delivery is all about making those services available and operational for users. And finally, service consumption focuses on how those services are actually used and the value they provide back to the business.
Mm.
And underpinning all of that is the foundation domain, providing those core data building blocks.
It's like tracing a service from the initial light bulb moment all the way to when someone is actually using it and getting value. And each of these domains has its own specific set of information it tracks.
It's exactly right. You can picture it. A new software app gets conceived in ideation and strategy, goes through design and planning for architecture. Build-in integration is where the devs code and test it. Service delivery puts it out there for employees. And service consumption watches how it's used, whether it's working well.
And that feedback might loop back to ideation.
Precisely. That feedback could spark new ideas back in ideation and strategy. So each domain serves a specific purpose, yeah? From high-level strategic thinking down to the nitty-gritty of IT ops and customer interactions.
You also mentioned a historical conceptual model. How does that relate to this life cycle view? Was that the older way?
Yeah, the historical conceptual model showed 7 distinct domains with foundation as the bedrock supporting all the others, like we said. That model was always designed to be flexible, though, allowing orgs to extend it with their own service classifications.
Okay.
And a service within that model is fundamentally defined as a business or utility service that delivers a specific outcome or business value. Standard definitions and models are key.
And within that older conceptual model, were there different categories of services defined?
Yes, the model defines 3 primary out-of-the-box service types. First, the business service. That's what's visible to the business users, supports key business capabilities, and really represents the highest level of value from a customer's perspective.
Okay, the customer view.
Right. Then there's the technology management service, which used to be called technical service. This is more provider-focused, managing the underlying tech that supports those business services.
Right, the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Kinda, yeah. And finally, there's the service instance, previously known as application service. This represents a specific running instance of a service. And like we mentioned, CSDM5 has broadened this category significantly to include those related elements like data, connection, network, and operational process service instances.
And how do all these sort of logical concepts map to the actual technology, the servers, the networks, the stuff that makes it all run?
That's where the CSDM digital system model comes in. Think of it as a layered view. It shows how the business process layer, the service logical layer, the functional layer, and the underlying infrastructure layer are all interconnected.
Okay, layers.
Yeah, it illustrates both the design time elements and the operational elements and how they progress through that CSDM lifecycle we just talked about. It shows the different levels of abstraction, basically, from high-level business processes right down to the physical servers and networks.
Okay, this is super helpful. Let's maybe dive just a bit deeper into those CSDM domains again. What are some of the key things within each that, our listener, the learner, should really try to understand?
Sure. Starting with the foundation domain, remember this is all about your essential reference data. Not usually in the CMDB relationships directly, but critical context.
Right.
Think value streams, how work actually happens in your org.
Sure.
Business processes, the steps to achieve a goal. Contracts, product models, those templates for goods and services. And CSDM5 as that new system component model type here. Also product features, the SBOM for software components, and CMDB groups for organizing assets.
Okay, foundational stuff. And that new ideation and strategy domain, how can the learner think about that practically?
This is really where your initial ideas, your strategic plans, your overall priorities take shape. You'll find things like product idea, planning item, which could be demands, projects, epics.
Right, the planning artifacts.
Exactly. Strategic plan outlining mission, vision, value, strategic priority, goal, target. The key here is that this domain lets you formally link these high-level strategic things back to the actual product models, value streams, and business processes that will eventually bring them to life. It connects strategy to execution.
Got it. Moving on to design and planning. What's the core function there? EA territory.
Primarily, yes. This is the domain for enterprise architecture.
Yeah.
Key elements are business capabilities, basically, what your organization does, business applications, the software enabling those capabilities, and information object, the types of data you manage, crucial for governance and compliance.
Okay.
It's really about the logical blueprint and planning stages, so these elements aren't typically managed directly through, say, day-to-day incident management, more high-level design.
Then there's build and integration, which definitely sounds like DevOps and development.
Exactly. This domain provides visibility into your build and development efforts. You'll find SDLC component for parts of your software lifecycle, AI system digital asset for AI components, plus the AI models and datasets themselves, even AI prompts. The main focus is integration, deployment, the pipeline.
Right. And the service delivery domain. That sounds like the traditional operational heart of IT, but maybe broader now.
That's right. This is where your operational CIs live the things that are running, that need monitoring and management. The big update in CSDM5, as we said, is the expansion of service instances.
Beyond just application services.
Way beyond. Now, you explicitly have models for data service instance, connection service instance, network service instance, facility service instance, and operational process service instance. Plus, things like APIs and operational technology, OT, are called out as critical here. And of course, your technology management services and their offerings live here too.
Okay, a lot going on operationally. What about service consumption? How does that fit in for the learner, where the business interacts?
Exactly. This domain focuses on how services are requested, accessed, and managed from a business or end user perspective. It's the realm of service portfolio management, SPM, and customer service management, CSM.
Makes sense.
Key elements include the business service itself, its associated business service offering, and the request catalog, where users actually go to ask for things, the storefront.
And finally, manage portfolio. What's the essence of that one? It sounds a bit different.
Yeah, it's less about a specific set of new data tables and more about encompassing aspects of all the previous domains. It really represents the broader responsibilities of a service owner overseeing the business applications, the underlying service instances, everything that contributes to the services they own. It's that holistic management view.
So it really is like a comprehensive map then. All the interconnected parts from that initial idea all the way through to the customer actually using the service and hopefully getting value, and each domain holds critical information along that journey.
Precisely. It ties it all together.
Okay, so given all this complexity, all these domains and connections, why? Why should anyone actually invest the time and effort into adopting the CSDM framework? What are the real, tangible benefits?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Oh.
There are several really compelling reasons. Firstly, it establishes that common language across different teams, different technologies. It cuts down confusion, improves communication massively.
Okay, common language number one.
Second, it helps significantly reduce technical debt. How? By promoting a standardized model instead of letting everyone build their own custom patchwork solutions over time.
Right, avoids the spaghetti model.
Exactly. Third, it leads to greater out-of-box use of ServiceNow products. More and more, the platform's features are designed specifically to leverage the CSDM structure. If your data isn't there,
You miss out on value.
you miss out. And crucially, it's future-proof. As ServiceNow continues to evolve, adds more AI, more capabilities, CSDM is going to be that underlying data model supporting it all. Aligning your data with CSDM ensures you're getting maximum value now and you're ready for what's next.
That makes a lot of sense, especially the future-proofing aspect. But wow, it still feels like potentially a massive undertaking for someone just starting out, or even someone with an existing instance. Where does someone even begin to implement CSDM? You can't just flip a switch, right?
No, definitely not. And ServiceNow recognizes that. The recommended approach is very much a staged implementation. Crawl, walk, run, fly.
Crawl, walk, run, fly.
The key takeaway here for you is that you don't need to boil the ocean. You don't implement everything at once. You start small and build value incrementally.
Okay, so tell me about foundation. What's in that first foundational stage?
Right. Foundation is stage 0, really. It's about getting your core organizational reference data in order. Things like your company structure, company, business unit, department, your locations, your user groups, and users themselves. Plus, foundational CMDB groups, your initial set of product models, and maybe key contracts.
So the basic scaffolding?
Exactly. It provides that crucial base for reporting, gives everyone common context, and reduces rework later. It's getting the basics right before you build on top.
Okay, so after foundation, the first real step is crawl. What does that involve?
Crawl focuses on your core applications, getting a handle on them. This means identifying your key business applications, maybe some relevant SDLC components, though they say that's optional at this early stage, your critical application services, the running instances, and the underlying discoverable applications and servers or hosts that support them.
So mapping out the app landscape.
Pretty much. This gives you the minimum viable CMDB you need for basic IT service management processes like incident, problem, change. And it lays the groundwork for more advanced stuff later, like enterprise architecture, service mapping, and technology portfolio management risk assessment. Quick wins here.
Got it. Crawl is applications. Then comes walk. What's the focus when we start walking?
Walk shifts focus to your technology services. This involves defining those technology management services, the ones that support your business services, remember, and their associated technology management service offerings. It also involves leveraging dynamic CI groups.
Dynamic CI groups. Remind me.
Yeah, think of those as smart, automatically updating lists of your technical components based on queries. So instead of manually grouping servers, you set a rule and the group maintains itself. Very useful.
Ah, okay. Automated grouping.
Right. This stage gives you much better visibility into your technical support structure, manages those underlying CIs better, and sets you up for technical service portfolio management and maybe even building out parts of your request catalog related to these tech offerings.
Okay, makes sense. Crawl was apps, walk is tech services. Then we run. What's the focus there? Business side.
Exactly. Run is where you tackle your business services head-on. This involves formally defining your business service portfolio, the individual business services you actually offer to the business or customers, and their corresponding business service offerings.
Right, the outward-facing stuff.
Precisely. This is absolutely critical for understanding the business impact of IT issues like if the server goes down, which business service is affected. It also forms the foundation for the service portfolio management service owner workspace and helps identify subscribers for ITSM processes. Big value unlock here.
And finally, we fly. Does that mean we've done everything in CSDM5?
It's essentially yes. Fly incorporates the remaining, often more advanced elements of the CSDM5 model. Things like building out the full request catalog, defining your business capabilities, identifying your information objects for data governance.
The EA and governance pieces.
Right. This stage unlocks more sophisticated enterprise architecture capabilities like application rationalization. It enables better integration between EA and SPM, enhances your service request workflows, lets you manage business services much more holistically, and helps identify critical data types for compliance, like GDPR or CCPA.
Wow.
So for someone just getting started, really understanding this crawl, walk, run, fly approach is absolutely key. It makes CSDM adoption feel achievable, not overwhelming, and you deliver tangible value at each stage.
That staged approach definitely makes it seem much less daunting. Okay, one last practical area. For organizations that already have a ServiceNow instance, maybe for years and lots of existing data, how do they actually migrate that data to align with the CSDM structure? It's not always clean, right?
Oh, definitely not. Migrating existing data requires careful planning and execution. They outline 5 key steps in the white paper. First, and this is non-negotiable, back up your data.
Always rule number 1.
Always. Second is attribute mapping. You've got to figure out how the fields in your current data, especially custom fields, align with the standard fields in the target CSDM tables. What goes where? What gets left behind or transformed?
Okay, mapping the fields.
Third, and this is super critical for avoiding disruptions, identify table dependencies. You need to understand how your current data tables and fields are being used elsewhere, in ServiceNow, in reports, business rules, scripts, integrations everywhere.
How do you even do that?
ServiceNow actually provides a helpful fix script on their community site, specifically designed to assist with identifying these dependencies. It's a lifesaver.
Good to know. Okay, step 4.
Fourth is to refactor attributes. Based on your mapping and dependency analysis, you might need to make changes to your data model before you move data, maybe consolidating fields, changing types, etc.
Cleaning up first.
Exactly. And finally, step 5 is the actual data migration. Moving your configuration items, your CIs, into the new target CSDM classes. And then crucially, going back and addressing all those dependencies you identified in step 3, updating the reports, scripts, rules to point to the new locations.
Right, can't forget to update everything that used the old data.
Absolutely. It's vital to understand those dependencies before you start moving data. And ServiceNow also offers some tools to help with this process, like a data migration script and the CMDB and CSDM Data Foundations dashboard, which you can grab from the App Store.
Okay, that's a clear process, though definitely involved. So what does this all mean for you listening in? Hopefully this deep dive has kind of peeled back the layers of CSDM5. Hopefully you see its potential to be way more than just some technical diagram.
Yeah, it's really a framework for connecting all the dots across your entire digital landscape, from those initial ideas right through to the value delivered to your end users.
So maybe consider which stage of that crawl, walk, run, fly adoption framework resonates most with where you are right now or where your organization's needs are. What initial steps could you maybe explore to build a more robust foundation for your digital services?
It's worth thinking about. And remember, there's a wealth of further information and resources available from ServiceNow if you want to continue exploring this.
Absolutely. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.